Zone.
It's a hard! Bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog,
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And good morning and welcome to the Thom Abraham Show. We are in bonus coverage time here from SEC Media Days, and I'm going to throw it directly upstairs as Phil Mathis is at the podium right now. Let's take a listen.
Making near seven figures with name, image, and likeness deals. I was just wondering kind of what your thoughts are about hearing that and seeing the early success he's had with this.
At the end of the day, if that's the case, I'm happy for him. I just want to see everybody win at the end of the day.
Okay, we'll go right down here front, road to the left, Bob.
Hey, Phil, Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I was going to kind of touch on that, too, so I'll make it a two-parter for a different one. But is there any chance of jealousy in the locker room when, the quarterback kind of glamour spot may make more than you guys in the trenches doing all the heavy lifting? And also, obviously players come and go at Alabama, going out in the draft, whatever. Assistants come and go. Nick Saban's obviously the constant. Why do you think you guys are at the top, every year?
Just our hard work and our dedication to the game. Going out, not taking anything for granted, showing up on time. It started with the little things, just, buying into the team.
And do you feel like there's any dynamic with NIL and within the locker room with the discrepancies with there?
Oh, not really, because at the end of the day, that's why I love my team. Everybody's happy for everybody, This is something we all think we deserve as players, so I don't think it's jealousy. I think it's more of everybody happy for everybody. You want to see everybody win.
Okay, Phil, we'll go all the way to the back right of the room alongside the back wall.
Hey, Matt Baker with the Tampa Bay Times. Following up on Edgar's question, I'm curious, how much have you looked into Miami and kind of getting ready for that? And what are your initial impressions of the Hurricanes?
We really haven't started on those guys yet. We just focused on going into the off season, really just getting our young guys ready, getting them deep in the playbook. So we haven't really started on Miami just yet.
Okay, we'll go back over here on the left-hand side. Get over there, get the microphone to Mike.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. Following up on what you said on the vaccines, you've been vaccinated. What the players that who haven't been vaccinated, are they afraid of shots? What are some of the reasons maybe that they don't have it?
I really don't know their personal reason, but at the end of the day, I was taught, just to accept the fact that, they probably got something going on that they, reason they don't want it. So that's their opinion on how they feel about it at the end of the day.
All right, we'll go in the center section along the left aisle, about halfway back, straight ahead of me.
Phil, Joe Goodman, AL.com. Just like last year, you were a major leader on the team. And being a criminal justice major, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the March to the Schoolhouse Door that you guys did. I was hoping you could kind of reflect on that and how that's, affected you and affected the team.
Can you repeat that?
Being a criminal justice major, And I know you were a major influence last year in the March to the Schoolhouse Door. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that. I was hoping you could reflect on that coming up on the 1-year anniversary and how that's affected you.
Oh man, really didn't affect me, but you know, I just love to see the whole team come together and support that type of movement last year, and that showed a lot of things. The reason why we won a championship, because you know we didn't have self-pity guys on the team. Everybody came together, and you know that says a lot about it right there.
Okay, Phil, we're going to go right here in front of us in the second row.
Hey, Phil. Talon Martin of BamaCentral.com. Last year, the offense had a lot of experience coming back, and this year it seems like it's flipped with the defense having 8 or 9 guys back, and you included being one of those veterans. Just how good can this unit be in getting back to that Alabama standard of defense?
You know, I think this can be a very good unit, and you know, I feel like we just got to take on the role and live up to the hype. You know, don't buy into it, but also, you know, show them what we're capable of once it comes game time.
Okay, Phil, we're going to go over here on the left on the third row.
Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Phil, he's about to go into his 4th year. I'm referring to Pete Golding. Where have you seen him grow the most as a defensive coordinator now, work with him again this year?
Man, I love Coach Pete, man. I love his energy when he's on the field. And the most I just seen him growing is just, you know, relating to the players more, you know, just knowing us and getting to know us better. And I think that takes the whole team a long way.
Okay, we're going to go right here in the center, about 3/4 of the way back. Brett
McMurphy with Stadium Network. There's a recommendation to expand the playoff to 12 teams. When it happens, your playing career will be over. But if it wasn't, would you be in favor of a 12-team playoff, or do you think that's too many games for the players?
You know, man, just from being at Bama, since I've been here, we were just taught, you know, to accept whatever come with it, you know. And, you know, if that's the case, it happened. You know, we got to make it to the playoffs first, so it really won't matter if we don't make it to the playoffs.
Phil, we'll take one final question, center section on the left aisle.
Nick Keller from the Tuscaloosa News again. There have been a few videos posted of Evan Neal working out this summer. How athletic of an offensive lineman is he to face?
Oh, man, he's a freak athlete, you know. Big Neal, man. Big Neal can do a lot of things. He's very flexible, and I love going up against him, you know, every day at practice because, man, he makes everybody better, and I love his leadership, you know, as he's been growing.
Phil, thank you for your time. Good luck this season.
Thank y'all.
And there you have it. That is defensive lineman Phil Mathis up in the main room. Coming up in a little bit, John Mechie will be up. He is up next, John Mechie III. And a couple of quick notes on that. Mathis is already graduated with a degree in criminal justice, and Mechie is going to graduate in 3.5 years. Now, I don't know about all y'all and how many of you got your degrees, but that 3.5, I can't even imagine it. I mean, it's been about 100 years since I was in college, and I can't even imagine getting a degree in 3.5 years. Heck, I had a hard time imagining getting a degree in 4 years and didn't make it. So, you know, that is really, really impressive. And I don't know how you do that while you are, playing big-time college football as well. So very, very impressive, both of those guys with their degrees. It is Hump Day in the Doghouse, SEC Media Days style. Let me get everything reset for you. It's Alabama Day here, obviously, as the Crimson Tide are in the house this morning. You just heard Nick Saban earlier from the main media room. We are going to bring you as much coverage of Saban as possible, as he will be in the electronic media room at about 10:30 or so we'll grab that for you. Phil Mathis, you just heard from. John Mechie III, you're going to hear from as well. Hopefully you heard those guys on the morning show with Scott and Drew. I think they both stopped by, and they did. So if you missed that, you'll be able to go and find that at our .com or on the Facebook page and be able to listen to those interviews with Drew and Scott as well. It was so sad when I pulled up this morning to see fans gathered out in the parking lot just to catch a glimpse of the Tiders. You know, there was no rain, at least this morning, here in Hoover, and they were just They were just huddled up in a little bullpen area there, dressed rather strangely to welcome their hero. So it was kind of sad this year. No fans in the hotel proper. Of course, we're once again coming to you from Radio Row here at the Winfrey at the Hyatt Regency in Hoover, right between the hotel and the Galleria Mall. If for some reason you're listening to SEC Media Day coverage for the first time ever, I always try to do that. I always try to reset things because I don't know. I mean, it could be somebody out there listening for the first time ever, and they don't know what this is all about. Now, these shows, these SEC Media Day shows, and we'll have full coverage through tomorrow for you, are extremely fluid, especially today. And believe it or not, Alabama is not the only ones here today. Clark Lee makes his Media Days of any kind debut this morning in the significant shade of Nick Saban, who has done more of these than anyone other than Steve Spurrier. This is number 19 here for Saban. Spurrier made 23. Now, Nick Saban just got another extension. If he makes it through that extension, Saban is going to exceed Spurrier's 23. I don't know if he will or if he won't. But no one other than Steve Spurrier has done this more times than Nick Saban. Now, this afternoon promises to be good as well, with Mike Leach taking the podium at 1:30, followed by Jimbo Fisher. Now, this is a first for Leach here in the SEC, although he has done it at Big 12 and Pac-12 Media Days back in the day. So, he has had that experience before. But, of course, he was scheduled to be here last year as well, and there was no last year, so we never heard from him. Now, the phone lines will get open at some particular point in time. We'll have them open at 256-576-4977. We got the entire digital doghouse for you as well, consisting of the Twitter feed at Thom Abraham Show and on Facebook, Thom Abraham Show, and the text window. That's a great way to communicate. You guys have been sending in texts. You can do that as well. 732-9TA show, 732-982-7469 is a great way during these kinds of show to communicate with us. The Zone, of course, is on Twitter and Twitch and Facebook at 97.7 ESPN, where you can watch the show as well, and on our YouTube channel at 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. You may think that you have liked and subscribed there, but you may not have. That is a new YouTube channel just from the last few months. So if you haven't, go to 97.7 ESPN, The Zone on YouTube, like and subscribe. You can go to 97.7ESPN.com and get links to all of that as well. And while you're at it, get the app. I mean, you got to have that app. That app is your life is it's really not complete if you don't have the app. At the top of the 11 here on set, Connor O'Gara will join me for a bit from Saturday Down South, and we will just see what else falls out. All right, there's other things that'll be going on here. Of course, Davion Davis is here with Vanderbilt, the Bob Jones, former Bob Jones player. We're going to try and snag him. We'll see if we can get him for a few minutes as well, and we'll just play it by ear a little bit and see what happens. Now, we are monitoring upstairs as well, and we will get to that in a little bit. And there are other things obviously going on in the sports world as well. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks doing what only 18% of teams have ever done, drop the first two and then win the NBA championship. I got a thought on what he said about coming back. I thought it was very, very impressive that he said that this is my city. They trust me. They believe in me. Obviously, I wanted to get the job done. That's on my stubborn side. It's easy to go listen to this now. It's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with someone else. That's easy.
We're now joined by Alabama wide receiver, junior John Mechie, and we will ask him to make an opening comment, and then we'll take your questions.
Let's go upstairs to John Mechie.
2021 season, just what are you looking forward to as the campaign gets underway?
I'm excited to go to work with the guys. I think we're all excited to go to work in this camp, get ready, and I'm excited to take the field this 2021 football season.
Appreciate that. If you have questions, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We're going to start right here in the center section over on the left aisle.
Hey, John, Nick Kelly from the Tuscaloosa News. You guys added Jameson Williams this offseason. What stands out to you about him so far?
I think J-Mo is a really great addition to our offense. I think he's going to add a lot of speed to our offense, and I think it's just going to help make us more dynamic.
Okay, we'll stay on that same side along the left-hand aisle.
Aaron Suttles, The Athletic. What are your impressions of the secondary this year? There's been a lot made of there's more experience coming back on defense this year. Last year was more offensive experience. But your impression so far of the secondary?
Yeah, I definitely think our secondary is a lot more experienced this year. I think our secondary will be really strong, and I think our defense as a whole will be really strong.
Okay, we'll go over here on the left-hand side, third row.
Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. John, you have Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator now. What do you think he's going to bring to continue to help that offense elevate more, like what Sarkisian was able to do?
I think Coach Sark did a great job. I think we're very excited for Coach O'Brien. Everyone kind of knows who he is and what he does, and the way he likes to play. So I'm really excited to have his mind collaborate with the Alabama offense.
Okay, we're going to go right here in the center section, third row back.
John, good morning. Tony Sakalis, Bama Insider. What have you seen from Bryce Young from a leadership standpoint? And there's been a lot of conversation, too, about his NIL earnings. What do you feel about that as well?
I think those on that subject is more personal. I think he would be somebody better to ask than me, but I think he's definitely coming along in the leadership role, definitely stepping up to it. He's definitely excited for his opportunity, and he's definitely doing a really good job of it.
Hey, John, we're going to go over here to the second row on our left.
Yeah, hey, John, about your offense in the spring, a lot of turnover in personnel. What did you see from the offense in the spring? What do you think your strengths are going to be?
I think we saw a lot of good opportunity in a lot of young guys. I think we saw a lot of potential in a lot of young guys, and a lot of young guys that can step up and help. So we're definitely excited about that.
Okay, we'll go right down in front of us in the front row.
Yeah, John, Kerry Clark, BamaCentral.com. During the 7-on-7 workouts throughout the summer that you guys have done informally, can you talk about, just name me a few of the young receivers that stood out to you?
A lot of the receivers have stood out. I think all the guys in the freshman class are doing really good. Ajay, Bake is doing really good. Slade, even the older guys. I think just as a team, everybody is coming along.
Okay, we'll go right behind him on the second row. Oh, other side. There we go.
Hey, John, Tyler Martin of Bama Central. You've seen a lot of turnover in the wide receiver room, 4 first-round picks in the last 2 years. Do you feel like the guy this year heading into this season? Are you embracing that role, and where do you kind of want to see your leadership grow?
I definitely think it's a role that I'm embracing. Having learned from all the guys before me, I'm definitely excited about it. I'm looking forward to being able to teach the young guys things and definitely lead the receiver room. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
We're going to go 2 rows back from that, right in the middle again.
John, there's a few Canadians in the SEC, including a player at Mississippi State. As a Canadian citizen playing here in the U.S. for a while now, what disadvantages, if any, do you face compared to American teammates, and how have COVID restrictions impacted like being able to go home and see your family?
There are definitely a couple. I think being Canadian definitely makes things a lot harder here and there. With a lot of paperwork and things like that. With COVID, it has been kind of tough not being able to see family for quite some time, or having them come to games and things like that. But I think it's important to keep in mind that it's something everybody's dealing with. Everybody has something to deal with in the COVID situation. So it's kind of just remaining focused and just remaining focused.
Okay, we're going to go to the center section along the right aisle.
Hey, John, Jordan Hill with Opal Black Auburn News. I want to ask you about a guy in our coverage area, Christian Story, who's been adjusting as a defensive back there. Just what have you seen from him on the other side and the potential he has going forward?
I definitely think Christian Story has a lot of potential. He's definitely coming along, especially just playbook-wise, physicality-wise, and things just being in the program does to you. So I definitely am excited for him as well.
We're going to the center section on the left aisle, about 3/4 of the way back.
Hey, John Talty of AL.com. To follow up on a question you got earlier, what was your initial reaction when you found out Bill O'Brien was hired? And I guess what does it say about Coach Saban and the Alabama program that they were able to add Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone, 2 guys who were NFL head coaches a year ago?
I think I was excited when I heard. I'm just excited to work with them. I think it would be a great opportunity for me to learn a lot, and I think it says a lot to the program of Alabama, the fact that you can have 2 head coaches on your staff. I think it just says a lot to the type of coaching you're going to get and the type of team you're going to have.
Okay, we'll stay on that same side, about 4 rows in front of that.
John, Joe Goodman, AL.com. Just to follow up on a previous question, when's the last time that you have seen your family in person?
Man, it might be around two-ish years. It's been quite a while, yeah.
How did you guys celebrate the national championship?
It was they weren't really there for it. I think one of my brothers got there for it, but it was kind of just being on the phone with them. Of course, they were happy for me, and I was happy. So kind of just been handling it as best as we could.
John, we're going to go down front here to the right, third row.
John, Mike Rodak with AOL.com. How has social media, how much pressure have you felt with social media to grow your audience and grow your brand because of NIL? And has your Canadian citizenship affected your potential earnings with NIL at all?
There were a lot of questions about that with my Canadian citizenship affecting it, but Alabama has done a great job of giving me the help I needed to figure it out. As far as social media, I don't really feel any pressures from it. Just because I'm aware that as long as I continue to make production on the field and do what I'm supposed to do on the field, opportunities off the field, they'll definitely be there.
John, we're going to go over to our left. Edgar?
Yeah, Edgar Thompson with the Orlando Sentinel. You played in plenty of big games, I know, but what do you anticipate with the atmosphere in the Swamp September 18th? And what kind of measuring stick game could that be early in the season for you guys?
I think it'll be exciting. I'm really excited for that, especially knowing that we're going to be playing a good team and we're going to be in a great atmosphere. So I think that'd definitely be exciting. And like you said, early on in the season, I think it would be a good challenge for us.
Okay, if you have other questions, we've got one up here in front. Jessica, if we can get one to here to Bob on the front left.
Hey, John. Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat. Is that how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I think the last three Alabama quarterbacks have all been first-round draft picks. I know Bryce hadn't taken a snap yet, but what's impressed you about him? Where do you think he fits in? How good could he be?
I think Bryce has an endless potential. I'm excited to see him play. I think just working with him and knowing him as a friend, I'm really excited for him to get a shot.
Okay, we'll go in the center section along the right-hand aisle.
Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South. What's the biggest thing that Devontae Smith taught you?
I think just the biggest thing I learned from him was work ethic. Just being able to actually just work day in and day out and try and bring your best self day in and day out.
Okay, other questions for John? We've got one over here on the right-hand side.
Robert Sesson, the Bryan College Station Eagle. Last year, you kind of had your breakout game against Texas A&M. What was different from that game than your previous 14 games, do you feel?
I think that was our second game. And I think I just being able to be on the field more, just getting more time on the field and the ability and time to actually showcase my talents and things like that. So I think that was definitely just it.
Okay, we'll go back down here front to Bob.
How tough is it when you haven't been able to see your family, and you can't remember the last time? I guess you said about 2 years, but not even the exact time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like that too. And besides your family, you created a lot of Alabama fans in Canada. Do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It has been tough, but I definitely always remind myself that even since high school, going to boarding school off, definitely making a sacrifice. And definitely just working here to make a sacrifice for my family, and hopefully one day it could pay off for them.
We're going to go all the way to the back of the right of the room.
Hey, John. Matt Baker with the Tampa Bay Times. You probably haven't done a ton of looking at Miami yet in week one, but I'm curious, what are your kind of initial thoughts of the Canes?
I've definitely took a peek at them. I'm excited to play them, first of all. As the first game, I know they're going to be really good, especially their quarterback, their leading safety. I know they'll have a good defense. They always have some exotic calls on defense, so I'm definitely excited to play that.
We'll go over along the left-hand side, Mike.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. I know there's been a lot of discussion among players and coaches about whether to get the vaccine, not to get the vaccine. As somebody who hasn't seen their family for a couple of years because of the pandemic, what's your philosophy on getting the vaccine or not getting it?
I think everybody just has to make the best decision for themselves. I think at Alabama, our coaches and our staff has done a great job of kind of just informing us, bringing people in to talk to us and make us aware. And I think at the end of the day, everybody just has to make the best decision they think is best for themselves and their family. Personally, I know that most of our team and our staff is vaccinated. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll go down here in the front, the second row. Tom?
John, when you came to Alabama, already several national championships under Nick Saban. I'm wondering, taking everyone's best shot and trying to sustain the level that Alabama football has been on, how does that happen? How are you guys able to be up there challenging every year?
I definitely think it happens. It definitely happens behind the scenes. I definitely think it happens because of all the work we put in, how committed we are, and the sacrifices we make in the off season. I think that's why the results continue to look the same. So I definitely think it's because of the atmosphere and the culture, and just the standard of the guys buying in.
We'll take one final question over on our right on the near aisle.
Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. I wanted to ask you, John, real quickly. Your position coach, Holman Wiggins, is the last holdover from the offensive staff. Tell everyone about how he is in the room with you guys, and how does he improve your game, and how he teaches the wide receivers position.
Coach Wiggins is special. Coach Wiggins is definitely special. I think as a competitor and as a true competitor of the sport, a person who wants to study the sport, be a student, and get better, you just really couldn't ask for a better coach.
All right, John, thank you for your time. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
So there you go. That is John Mechie, very impressive-sounding young man, talking about all the things that he will deal with this upcoming year. And being a Canadian, he hasn't seen his family in 2 years. I mean, that's amazing. He has not seen any of his family in 2 years. All right, we're going to get a quick break in here. We're going to get reset here at the top of the hour, and then Chris Stewart is going to join us. Of course, very involved with all things on the Crimson Tide Radio Network, including being the voice of Crimson Tide basketball and baseball, and that was pretty exciting. There was big news overnight for the Crimson Tide basketball team as well, and we'll ask him about that. It's all coming up right here at the Thom Abraham Show, live from SEC Media Days at 97.7 ESPN. The Zone.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
No, I'm good. Good for him. I've won.
Log on today, 97.7ESPN.com.
It's a hard! Bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
Who wants coffee? Anybody wants coffee?
Can you get me off the roll type thing? The tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Tide and Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom
me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today. Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot. Check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. 'Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Yes, Coach, we are on here, and yes, Coach, I will call you Coach because you are Coach and you earned that right to be called Coach. Welcome. It is Hump Day in the Doghouse, SEC Media Day style, Alabama Day here this morning. Crimson Tide in the house for the morning session. So far, you've heard from Nick Saban and Phil Mathis and John Mechie. We'll hear more from Nick Saban coming up at the bottom of the hour. But the only guy that ages even better than Nick Saban is Chris Stewart.
Don't look under the hood.
I mean, Chris Stewart, that doesn't matter. He's had a few physical, issues over the last few years. Doesn't matter. Doesn't age him at all. You look at him, and he still looks as youthful and as healthy as ever. And he joins us here on our set for a few moments as well. Of course, the voice of Alabama basketball and baseball, and very involved as well in the football broadcast on the Crimson Tide Network. How are you, man?
Man, I'm really good. I appreciate the kind words. I do. But for you to say all of that about me simply shows that you're getting older and your vision's getting worse. And I
think God plans it that way.
Yeah.
My wife says that God plans it that way, that we kind of things get a little blurrier so we don't see the lines in our spouses. And
Look,
so on.
man, let me tell you, I don't know what vision issues my wife has, but I pray that God doesn't heal them anytime soon, because after 17 years of marriage, she has not figured out that she should have upgraded dramatically from what she did.
Well, you're being very, very modest. How are you, though?
I feel great.
You
Thank
feel
you.
great? Everything is great? I mean, you had a great basketball and baseball season to call?
Now, I'm always hesitant to say I'm feeling great, because when I sat here 2 years ago at our last SEC Media Days, I made the same statement, and it was an honest statement. I said I felt great. I was coming off of 16 months earlier having had a stroke, which was a fluke according to the doctors, and was doing really well and all of that. And then, dadgummit, if a month later I wasn't on a table having bypass surgery. So I'm a little leery to say, I'm doing great, because I'm wondering if the other shoe's going to fall. But I do feel well. All the medical reports, and I'm frequent with doctors because I don't want any more surprises if I could avoid them.
Well, you've had the big things. I mean, brain and heart. I mean, everything else, who cares if you twist your knee or something?
And again, as my wife would say, who knew I had either? So it is it's an interesting time. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful that I'm doing as well as I am. And again, I'm as a few people have been very nice to say, man, you look great. I said, no, I don't. I just look like I did before. There's a difference, but I do. I feel very good, very thankful. Appreciate daily stuff more. I got a 10-year-old, my youngest, that has gotten started playing golf. He's now my retirement plan.
Yeah.
But going and playing 9 holes of golf with him, being able to enjoy that, and he's good enough where I can actually enjoy it. And I'm healthy enough where I can go play. 12 months ago, I was literally just kind of bunting the ball down the fairway because I had no flexibility, no strength. But I was out of the hospital after a 91-day stay, and that was a blessing in and of itself. But a year removed from all of that, things are great. Nobody cares about that. Let's move on, talk football.
Well, you must have been like, pandemic. Who cares, pandemic? This is nothing. I've had my own personal pandemic for 3 years.
I'm with you. People talked about,
White Sox, Brewers on Sunday Night Baseball. Sunday at 7 Eastern on ESPN. Telecast presented by Taco Bell.
The biggest names in sports coming to your mornings.
I always say on my show, I ride or die with Cam Newton regardless. What I will say, if your ass go out there and you play like you played last year, I want you to retire. But I'm just telling you.
Keyshawn, man, you're a
You got to constantly date your spouse,
right?
To have a marriage that you want to have. Now in this day and age in college athletics, you got to constantly recruit your kids. That doesn't mean that you come off of what your values and your expectations and your requirements are, but you probably approach things with a kid a little bit differently than you did before. And I haven't had this conversation with Nate or Nick or anybody about this. Is just my own guess that you probably, at least if there is a conflict, whatever the conflict may be, it at least runs through your mind a little bit differently now as a coach. And how am I going to initially respond to whatever the conflict happens to be? So knowing Nate Oates, knowing the person that he is, knowing now, having seen it up close for 2 years, the coach that he is, I'm not surprised that he was able to get a kid to see that Tuscaloosa is the best place for him. Here's part of why I don't know that his sales pitch, for lack of a better term, to Jaden Shackelford with this, but here's what mine would be. You thought enough of Alabama 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, to come to Alabama then when there was not a lot really great going on with the program. Since that time, you've seen guys move on to the NBA and get selected high in the NBA draft. Another one potentially this year. You've seen us go from mediocre to Sweet 16 and SEC champion. You are not just the top returning scorer from last year, you were the top scorer last year. You were all freshmen in the SEC your rookie year. You were all conference last year. And if you were happy with all of that, and granted there's some major holes to fill, but you've got really good pieces to fill the holes with, why would you not want to stick around? Why would you want to go for the uncertainty of what might be somewhere else when you know what you've got right here? It's not a place in disarray. It's not a place with uncertainty. We're rebuilding with great talent that can get us right back where we were a year ago and maybe exceed it. I'd hate to see you miss it because we intend to do this whether you're here or not.
And, you can make that same argument for Nate Oates himself. And by that I mean this. 13, 14 years ago when Nick Saban showed up in Tuscaloosa, everybody thought this is, he's a vagabond. He won't be here 3-4 years. He's not going to be here. Now it's going to be his last job. He talks like this is where he's going to retire, and everybody believes that. I know that basketball fans, they get a little bit of anxiety over Nate Oates. These big jobs open up at schools that are known to be basketball, factories, basketball first type schools, and you think, oh, this is great. He got us to the Sweet 16. He's going to take us to the, further in the tournament. Oh, wait a minute. That means somebody else is going to snap him up. But I get the sense, I'm not talking about 13, 14 years down the road, but I get the sense that Nate Oates is pretty pleased being in Tuscaloosa, and the fact that he is at what is the number one football program in the country, and he's the basketball coach there, it doesn't seem to be too big for him.
Well, I would totally agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with all of what you just said. But part of what made it even more attractive to him is there was not a bye week, but you had an off week. Let me get it right. There was, I think because of COVID, a game that was missed, a Tuesday or a Wednesday or Thursday of that week. Greg Byrne doesn't waste time. Season's not over. The ring sizes haven't been picked out yet because you haven't won the ring yet for the SEC title. He goes to Nate Oates with a new contract. It's not like, well, let's wait till the season's over with. Let's get it done now. And Nate Oates goes, love it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Signs it. Done. It's now established he's going to be there for a while. So Alabama showed before the rings were won, they knew the direction the program was heading. I think that meant a lot to him. He enjoys Alabama. I'll tell you something else. When you talk about greener pastures and all that. He's at Buffalo. He's one of the hot young names for multiple jobs. Clearly, Alabama was one of them. He interviews with Greg Byrne and Jeff Purinton in his home the night before. The next morning, they come back and go, we want you to be the coach at Alabama. We want to offer you the job. He had an interview lined up with UCLA. The interview was scheduled. He canceled the interview to take the job with Alabama.
That tells you a lot.
So there were others out there. There were a lot of others out there. So UCLA is one of the most historic programs in all of college basketball. He turned down the chance of that to pick Alabama.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that he's opted to stay here for a while, and I hope it's a long, long while.
Chris Stewart with us here, SEC Media Days. Football, it's expected. Basketball was ahead of schedule, and it was like, hey, this is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then the cherry on the sundae was a baseball season that was good for a while, stumbled to the finish line, very good in the SEC tournament, and it was like, hey, this is kind of cool, and became a tournament team.
And did it with chewing gum and baling wire, man.
Right.
I mean, they were without 5 of their top 8 pitchers, including a first-round draft pick in Connor Prelup, who threw opening day and then threw a grand total of, I think, 3 innings after that.
Is that a one-off, or do you think that program is going in the right direction?
No,
is this a regular tournament team now? Big tournament.
I think so. Yeah. I really do. Let me tell you, you've done this long enough, you'll understand and appreciate what I'm about to say. It's great when your team wins, when you're a play-by-play guy for a school, but when you really like and respect the people you're working with,
right,
that's huge. Now, I'm not saying I've done Nick Saban's TV show for years. We're not close. Now, when I was sick, he and his wife reached out to my family multiple times, very appreciative. But, we're not having dinner in the off season. We're not hanging out. He's not calling me to play golf, and I'm okay with that.
But you do call him Nick, at least. I mean, you do call him Nick. You call him Coach on TV,
I'll call him
maybe.
Coach on TV, but I'm not afraid to because it's really more the way I was brought up.
Right.
But it's not a fear factor type of thing.
Right.
That being said, I got a really good relationship with Nate Oates. I got a really good relationship with Brad Bohannon. Brad will ask me basketball questions any time of the year. He's a basketball fan. The day I told this story yesterday, I was in the hospital 2 years ago during the SEC basketball media day. Nate Oates is going for his first time. We've been around each other, Nate Oates and I, a grand total of 6 times, and it's spent collectively a total maybe of an hour and a half. Maybe an hour and a half at that point, okay? I'm sick. I'm in the hospital. I'm having a rough day. Friend comes in that was sitting with me that day and says, hey, you're not going to therapy. I went, good. I don't feel like going to therapy. He goes, we got something better. And I look up. Nate Oates, Kyra Lewis, and Herb Jones walk into my hospital room.
At the hospital room.
Spent an hour with me hanging out before they came to the equivalent of what we're here for today.
Right.
The basketball media event. It's not true. It would be inaccurate to say he didn't know me from Adam, but we hadn't built a rapport.
Had a season yet.
We hadn't built a rapport yet. And the guy came to see me. He loses his first conference game in Gainesville. It's my first game back to do play-by-play. Team blows a 20-point lead with a minute to go in the first half. They lose in double overtime. He comes out to do postgame, and I realize I have no clue how this guy's going to be.
Right.
Haven't done an interview with him postgame yet, and they've just lost a devastating ball game. I said, Coach, tough way to start conference play. I just kind of put it on the tee, let him go. He goes, yeah, Chris, hate it. He goes, but, I'm sitting there, I look across, we're up 20, and I see you and go, hey, man, this is awesome. We're giving Chris an easy win. Easy first game. He goes, what do? We not only blow the lead, we make you work 10 extra minutes. And I just want to apologize on behalf of it. Kind of makes a semi-joke before he goes on.
Right.
My point is simply saying they're great people. They're terrific to work with. I really enjoy them. And as a fan, which I was long before I started putting the headset on and doing Alabama games, they're awesome coaches, and they've got Alabama poised in both baseball and basketball to be among the best in the SEC, which automatically means you're among the best in the country year in and year out.
No doubt. Chris Stewart has been our guest. Chris, good to see you again.
Always good to see you. Thanks. Appreciate your friendship.
Appreciate you stopping by. All right, we're going to get a break in here. When we come back, we'll be going down to the to the electronic room where Nick Saban will speak to the assembled media, and we'll see what he has to say to those guys. We'll do that next. It's the Thom Abraham Show, live on location, SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Baseball, Braves plus 135 on the money line against the Padres. San Diego minus 172, over under 7.5 in Game 1. In Game 2, Atlanta minus 105, Padres minus 116, over under 7. The Milwaukee Bucks have won the NBA championship, defeating the Suns in 6 games. Looking ahead to next season, the Brooklyn Nets, the early favorite to win it all at plus 210. The Lakers behind them at plus 450. Assuming the Olympics are still on, starting with the opening ceremonies on Friday, a look at the gymnastics competition. The U.S. women heavy favorites to win gold at minus 650, Russia plus 500, and China plus 600. On the men's side, Russia plus 100, China plus 175, Japan plus 400. I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Alabama's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports.
All right, let's send it upstairs to Nick Saban.
Or make the way their expectation is of how they get addressed, and it's not something that's really that significant to me.
Coach, to your right on the second row. Tyler Shaw with KBTX in College Station. I was just curious your thoughts on Texas A&M, what Jimbo Fisher's building there, and do you see them as legit contenders in the SEC West?
I don't think there's any question about it. Jimbo's done an outstanding job there. They had a really, really good team last year, and very challenging game for us. It's always difficult to play there, and we have to play there this year. And I know they have a lot of good players, both sides of the ball. And I know Jimbo from, back in 2000 when we started out at LSU. He's a great coach. He does a good job. He's a good recruiter. He's well liked by the players, and he creates a culture on his team that, enhances very good competition, players being competitive and putting themselves in the best position to have a chance to win. So we have a lot of respect for Texas A&M and the kind of team that they're going to have this year.
Coach, we'll go on the front row here. Hey, Coach. Tom Martin of Bama Central. Two-part question, both about the receivers. Where do you want to see John Mechie grow as a leader of that unit that doesn't seem, some unproven guys and some with experience? Where do you want to see his leadership grow? And then what does Jamison Williams do for you guys on offense?
John Mechie is a very mature player, very mature guy. Is a guy that has always set a good example and been somebody that other players can emulate with the example that he sets. He's been a good leader in that group, and a lot of the players respond to him in a positive way because he has a very serving personality. He's not confrontational, but he's very helpful. Jamison Williams has been very impressive with us this summer. We felt like we needed somebody who has juice and speed at receiver to complement the players that we have, and some experience because we've lost 4 first-round draft picks in the last 2 years at that position, and he certainly has not disappointed us in how he's added those elements, to our offense, especially in what we've seen this summer.
Coach, front row to your right.
Hey, Coach. Nikki Noto-Palmer, 09 graduate, if you will, Atlanta CW 69 Sports. You mentioned vacation's over. I honestly have a really hard time picturing you on vacation, so I want to know, how do you turn it off, and what does vacation look like when it doesn't involve golf or Lake Burton?
Well, I'm so obsessive compulsive that we only go to Lake Burton in the summertime. That's the only place we go. And we go to our house at Gasparillo Island, which is Boca Grande in Florida, in the wintertime when we have a few days. That's the only place we ever go. So, but I do, contrary to public opinion, enjoy sort of being away, different circumstance, different environment. I really enjoy the lake. I play golf every morning. People don't like the fact that I take a bath on the dock, dive in, soap up, dive in again, rinse off. It's, kind of the hillbilly in me from West Virginia. And, Terry and I get to spend a lot more time together just to enjoy each other, which we don't get to do very often. So it is different, and it is good, and it does recharge you. And even though I'll still watch recruits on the video, and I'll, kind of look at next year's opponent sometimes if it's a rainy day or whatever, it still has helped me learn how to turn it off so that you're more ready when you have to turn it back on.
Coach, to your left, front row.
AP Stadium, WGP, AM and FM, Foley, Alabama. Coach, is this the most depth you've had at the punting position? And what do you tell Will Reichert after having such a spectacular season?
Well, Will did have an outstanding year last year, and I think the big thing is it's kind of like playing golf when you're a specialist. You have to, consistency and performance is what's going to define your success, and when you have, that kind of success, you don't want to just make that the standard and think that you're going to be frustrated if you can't match that, but you just want to be the most consistent, best performer you can be. That's what we tried to emphasize with him. And look, we have a lot of punters because we're trying to it's not been one of the strengths of our team, so we're trying to get someone who has the ability to go out there and change field position for us a little better than what we've been able to do the last few years. That's not been one of the things that we've done a great job of when it just comes to punting average, punting performance, consistency at that position. So, hopefully with the guys that we have there now, someone will be able to do a little better job for us.
Coach, to your right on the second row.
Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13 in Birmingham. Coach, going into last year with a limited capacity, how important is it as a coach for you to have your players have 100% with the fans this year? And do you talk to Greg and your president about how important it is to have 100% capacity this year at Bryant-Denny?
I think that from a player's perspective, the players that went out early for the draft all had very sad eyes when they said that the thing that I regret most is playing my last season and we didn't have 100% fans. So from a player's perspective, I know how important it is for players to feel the energy, feel the enthusiasm, feel the passion, because it is a great atmosphere and environment all over the SEC, but also especially at Bryant-Denny Stadium for our players. And it's exciting, and they enjoy that part of the game and the excitement of the game, and to be able to go out and try to perform well in front of a lot of people. And so it's as important as anything to me, but it's also something that has to be safe for the people who do it. So we don't want to minimize that, even though we have a lot of enthusiasm for that to happen.
Coach, to your left, front row.
Coach, Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio in Huntsville, Alabama. Development is a huge part of your program. After spring practice, tell us about the development of some young offensive linemen like Damian George and also J.C. Latham that joined your program and enrolled early.
Well, I do think that because we have to rebuild the offensive line to some degree, we have two starters back, and some other players who have played a significant amount, but we also have a lot of young players. I think you named two of them that it's important for us that those guys mature and develop and gain confidence in being able to play those positions, whether it's to become a starter or to be a backup who can have a winning performance if necessary and they need to go in the game. So we believe in those guys. They have a lot of ability. They have a lot of talent. They're certainly capable. But, offensive line is probably one of the most important positions to be able to develop because there's so much playing together with the other guys, whether it's pass protection, run blocking, whatever it might be. So to have a cohesive group up front that can kind of trust and believe in each other, I think is really important. And those two guys' development will obviously be pretty significant in how that group sort of develops this year.
Two final questions. The first one, Coach, to your right, second row.
Hi, Coach. Georgia Chambers, WFF 48 in Huntsville. Can you touch on LeBron Ray and what you're expecting from him this season on the field and from a leadership standpoint?
Yeah, LeBron Ray is a guy that we have a tremendous amount of confidence in. He's a mature player. He's a very good player. He can add a tremendous amount to our defense. Certainly has struggled through his career because of injury. He's had several injuries that have kept him off the field at least half the season last year, and then we only played him situationally toward the end of the season trying to keep him healthy. But he's a guy that has a lot of potential, a lot of ability, can really add a lot of maturity, leadership, and performance to our defense. And hopefully he can stay healthy this year and have the kind of year that I know he's worked hard to be able to have. So we're trying to, help him have the best opportunity to do that.
Final question, Coach, to your left, back row.
Coach, Matt St. Jean, WTVA in Tupelo. With the kind of the weird season last year, did it make it more difficult to evaluate the first year of Coach Lane Kiffin and Coach Mike Leach, and what do you anticipate in year two out of Ole Miss and Mississippi State this year?
Well, I have a lot of respect for those two coaches and those two programs, and I think both those guys will do well, and I do think that it was probably as difficult a circumstance to try to take over a team and a program relative to COVID, not being able to have spring practice, not being able to do a lot in the summer with the players. So you're talking about implementing new systems and new philosophy, creating new cultures, and not having really much of an opportunity to do it until fall camp started, which started late. I think it's really hard to judge, but I think both guys did a good job last year under the circumstances, and I'm sure they're going to do even better as time goes on.
Thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
So there you go. That's Coach Nick Saban from the electronic media room, so making the rounds upstairs, and some new stuff that we learned there. Did not know that Coach Saban liked to bathe in the lake. So there you go. And he said his neighbors don't like it. Comes back from golf when he's on vacation. He plays golf every morning, and then he grabs a bar of soap, jumps in the lake, soaps up, jumps out of the lake, jumps back in the lake to rinse. And he said, I guess it's the hillbilly in me. And see, you don't think of that with Coach Saban being from West Virginia, though he is a hillbilly. There's no doubt about it. So we learned that. The other thing, we just caught the end of it when we came back, was he was asked about the issue that happened yesterday at SWAC Media Days, where Deion Sanders got up and left Media Days because he was people were asking him questions and referring to him as Deion, and they wouldn't call him Coach. And he said, you don't call Nick Saban Nick, why would you call me Deion? Well, I got to be honest with you. There were 6 people in the main room that referred to Coach Saban as either Nick or Coach. 3 of them used Nick, and 3 of them used Coach. And he stayed. He didn't leave. And he did answer the question in the electronic media room saying that he's been called a lot of things over the years, and he answers to all of them, and it's never really something that he cares about. So Deion Sanders getting the legs cut out from under him on that thing. Now, look, Deion is right, all right, in terms of, the fact that I believe, and this is just me, I believe that you call a coach. I've had a lot of coaches on the show, ex-coaches, former coaches, and if a coach at any particular point in time, I always refer to him as coach. It's just a term of endearment. It's a term of respect. So I use that term coach. Having said that, for Deion Sanders to get up and walk out because he wasn't being called coach, for one thing, is not very coachy. Secondly, you get someone else to carry that water for you. If you're Deion Sanders, you find someone in the media that is friendly to you, and you say to them, this is kind of BS, man. They don't call me coach, they call me Deion, and let them make the comment that Deion Sanders isn't being respected and they're not calling him coach and so on and so forth. For you to make it, to get up and walk out of SWAC Media Days because they're not calling you coach, you're making it about you. And for 30 years, you told us you were Neon Deion. You told us you were prime time. And you've been a coach for a year, okay? And you don't dress like a coach half the time. Often you don't talk like a coach, but now you are one. And you should be addressed as coach. But if you're not being addressed as coach, you don't walk out. You don't just get up and walk out, because that's not a very coachy thing to do. What's the message that you're sending? You're going to tell. Respect isn't given, it's earned. All right? And did you earn respect by doing that? What was the message that you sent to your team? And there's the guy you just heard, who's the greatest college football coach in the history of ever. And his attitude was like, well, I don't care. I don't care what they call me. Half the people called him Nick. Half the people called him coach. He didn't go anywhere. Back at Mission Control, doing a great job in the little glass room, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax, and dealing with the connection issues when they pop up, keeping us on the air, working those buttons like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. It's Coach Grizz. Grizz, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing all right, just holding it down as always, and you guys look great over there. Great. I mean, there have been a great list of guests all morning, all week. It just looks like it's been a real fun time for you guys.
It's a term of endearment. I mean, you coached middle school kids, and you still got kids that will call you coach because you were their coach, and we call you Coach Grizz because that's what they called you, and but for Deion to get up and walk out. I mean, that's not – I understand being upset about it, but that's not the way you deal with that.
I mean, no. I mean, you're supposed to be a leader of men, and if this is something that offends you, it's like when Coach Saban got called Saban. Hey, Saban. Yeah. And everybody made a big deal about that. At the end of the day, he kind of just brushed it off and just kept – and he answered the question. Yeah. He wasn't going to freak out and walk out and make a big thing about it, big stink about it, and I don't think you should. I mean, and like you said, I've coached – I have not coached in probably it's been about 3, almost 4 years now, and I still see some of these guys every now and then out and about, and that's the first thing they say to me is, "Hey, coach." And I don't think it's right. I don't know if it's like a level of if it's like a level of respect or anything like that. It's just always. It is. I mean, it is in a way, but if you're like on good terms, when you get older, obviously you can say that coach's first name. But I think it's so ingrained in your head that it's just kind of like, yeah, hey, coach, you just know to say that.
I use the term coaches that I coached with, coaches that were peers of mine, coaches that coached under me. I used the term coach when Mel Moore used to come on, and he was 15 years removed from being a coach. I called him coach, and I asked him one time. I said, do you mind if I call you coach? And he said, no. He goes, I view it as a level of respect. And I said, so I call him coach. Right. I had people. I was a special teams coordinator at a small college for 11 years in upstate New York, and I got guys that I coached that are now in the FBI and everything else that every once in a while contact me through the Facebook and things like that, and it's always coach. They don't know me as anything other than coach or big dog. They call me that because they were the ones that glossed me that. But having said that, if you don't use the term, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't address Nick Saban as Nick because I'm not on that. I don't feel like I'm on that level with
You're
him.
not
I've
Cecil
known him
Hurt.
for, I've known him. Yeah, well, Cecil, I've known him for. Look, my son was on his staff.
Yeah.
Just like with Wes. I think Wes's son was on the staff for a while.
Yeah.
My son was a student assistant on his staff when he was there, and I thanked him for putting him on the staff. And we had a conversation about that, but I always called him coach. But for Deion to get up and walk out, that's just not the way you handle it. And you get some slappy to carry your water for that. You know what I mean? You get somebody in the media to write a little story about it, or put a blurb in there about it, but you don't do that yourself. That's what I'm saying about it. And Grizz, just to get your thought on it, since there are other things going on in the world, I was touching on it for a moment before. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak.
Antetokounmpo.
Right? Antetokounmpo.
There you go.
Yeah,
you got it. Antetokounmpo.
He is now my favorite NBA player. Dropped 50 and 14 rebounds last night. But him saying, obviously I want to get the job done, that's what my stubborn side. He said this, quote, "It's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. That's easy. I could go to a super team and just do my part and win a championship. But this is the hard way to do it," close quote. Man, does that guy get it. I love that. I mean, he became my favorite guy in the NBA now since Michael Jordan, because he's like, you come to me, we'll win. I'm not going to you to win. This is the anti-Durant, the anti-LeBron. I absolutely love this.
Oh, I think it's truly awesome. I don't know how anybody didn't like Giannis before this, because the kid was always humble. Even when he was a tiny, really nobody really knew a lot about him. They thought maybe he would be pretty good, and then he just gained like 45 to 50 pounds of muscle, and he just became this dominant big man, under center. And it's just ridiculous to think that they have to do these types of things, that they have to build these teams. Well, you don't. If you show, and it kind of helps that Chris Middleton kind of came into his own, because they're the only two people left in that 2013-2014 roster. So they are like the only players left since that time. I don't know why anybody would ever think anything negative of Giannis or not be on his side, because he's been nothing but humble. He's done it for the fans the entire time. He signed that extension, and he showed you why. And I don't like that people are giving him not a lot of credit because, the Lakers are out, or, because the Nets weren't at full strength. Okay, and it's everybody else. Like, the Bucks have key pieces, key veteran guys like a Brook Lopez that carries the younger guys, and you saw that. With the Suns, you didn't see that. As much as we give Chris Paul credit being a savvy veteran and being a really good guy, he does not grab the guys like you've seen around what the Bucks did, completing the rest of this team and making this a championship form team. And I loved every bit of this finals, so if anybody hated this finals, I loved every bit of this finals, could have cared less. And this is the reason why we don't want super teams like they're trying to do right now, getting Damian Lillard on the Lakers.
All right, let's get a break. We will come back and set you up for the top of the hour next from SEC Media Days. It's the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN DAZN.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
It's the hard! Bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here.
Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life, more important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here, and it's summertime at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Come join us and enjoy our all-new summer fun menu featuring fan favorites like our Bam Bam Chicken, Go Fish, Alabama Gulf Buffalo Shrimp, and our all-new Buffalo-style Wing Fingers. All our shrimp dishes feature Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget, we're always looking for new legendary people to join our legendary team. Apply online at baumhauers.com/careers. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Contractors and homeowners throughout the Tennessee Valley agree. Valley Equipment Rental is the place to go when you need to get the job done like a pro. Rhyming aside, Valley Equipment has everything you need for your project, from tillers for the garden to aerators for the lawn to stump grinders, augers, and mowers, plus skid steer and mini excavators. Oh, the skid steer and excavators. Valley Equipment is North Alabama's leader in skids and excavators with 25 of each, and they have them in all different sizes. Check them out today on the South Parkway or at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Hit the horn! Horn! Up, bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson
Rhea
Tide.
Teller.
Now more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Yeah, welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Now I know why I had to switch hotels for tonight. There's some sort of big-time volleyball tournament or something going on, or a softball tournament or something that is happening in Hoover the rest of the week. And there was a screw-up originally when my room was reserved that it was supposed to be through Wednesday night, and it ended up only being through Tuesday night. So I went to the desk, and I'm like, the guy, it was the middle of the week, and I'm like, I need to be extended through tomorrow night. He's, no, we're sold out. So what do you mean sold out? It's Wednesday. Everybody's here from SEC Media Days, and believe me, they're with the reduced amount of media and the amount of media that's just driving in from around the state, it wasn't because of that. No, some team or some tournament just booked the entire hotel, and you're out. So I'm out. So now I got to move in the middle of the day tonight. During the lunch break today, I got to move from one hotel to another hotel. Oh, woe is me. I'll be fine. All right? Don't worry about it. Not that you're worried about it. I will be fine for sure. All right. Plenty more to come in the second hour of the show. Connor O'Gara is going to join us at the top of the hour, and we're going to talk some SEC football with him. And then we'll see what falls out the rest of the way. SEC Media Day 3. I have to give you my predictions as well for the 4 teams that are here today because that's what we've been doing each and every day. Back with more right after this. It's the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The U.S. women's national soccer team needs to have a short memory, according to Megan Rapinoe, after today's stunning 3-0 loss to Sweden in its Olympic opener. Rapinoe says there's no time to think about it. They've got to move on with the next game Saturday against New Zealand. The loss to Sweden snapped a 44-match unbeaten streak for the Americans. As the party rolls on in Milwaukee for the Bucks' first NBA title since 1971, the champs are being given the third best chance by odds makers to repeat next season. The Nets plus 225 and Lakers plus 400 are the betting favorites. The next shortest odds, the Bucks at plus 900. More on the NBA when ESPN's Tim Legler joins Greeny with Mike Greenberg at the bottom of the hour. Zach LaVine will join the rest of the U.S. men's Olympic basketball team in Tokyo tomorrow after clearing health and safety protocols. Team USA's first pool game is on Saturday against France.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's a hard! Up, bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. Guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show, live on location. SEC Media Days today brought to you by TOC Sports. This is my 17th year at SEC Media Days, and I bet that TOC Sports has sponsored my show at SEC Media Days probably 15 times in those 17 years. I mean, that's how great a relationship we have with them. For all your orthopedic needs, it's TOC Sports, and not just sports injuries, any types of injuries as well. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to go up to the electronic media room. We'll hear from James Clemens' Davion Davis, who's now, of course, with Vanderbilt and here today, and we're going to let you get a little taste of that. But for the next few minutes, we'll talk with Connor O'Gara. He's a frequent guest on the show from Saturday Down South, does a tremendous job there, and he joins us on set. Connor, welcome in. How are you, man?
I'm doing really well. You know, it's just getting back into the media days flow. It's interesting. You know, I feel like I've been here for an entire week already.
Yeah.
With getting to do some of these shows and being able to talk with people like yourself who, you know, I don't really get to see in person. But it's just good to be back. And I know that's been kind of the theme throughout this week. When you don't have something, you appreciate it a little bit more. And I'm not one to complain about media days.
Yeah.
I know that there are some who always find the negative. I like to find the positive, and this has been a positive week so far.
You know, there were times where it's been tedious over the years. But, yeah, have it taken away for a period of time. And plus, our listeners, our fans, they don't want to hear that this is a pain. We're living in the toy department of life.
Exactly.
I mean, this is it. They don't want to hear our complaints. They're at work and slogging along, doing whatever they're doing, and we're sitting here being fed and you know, and being able to talk to the coaches and players from around the SEC and other great media. So yeah, I mean, I think it does. I think last year for everybody kind of gives everybody a chance to kind of step back and say and appreciate what it is that we actually have.
We are very fortunate to be able to do this for a living and to be able to, you know, spend our time talking about what a head coach or what a player said in the middle of July when we could be doing a lot worse. You know, I'll take it. And I think that so far I've been entertained by at least some of these coaches here. I thought Kirby Smart yesterday was on a different level. I have never seen him quite like that in this setting, and I thought he was pretty open about things like, you know, the COVID vaccination stuff and talking about name, image, and likeness and the text that he got from Quavo and all these different things that usually you don't get out of Kirby. He told the story about getting recognized in public, about somebody who thought he was a celebrity, and, you know, his kids were just dying laughing. I thought Kirby was great. I thought that Saban was also good for what he, you know, brings to the table, and you're not necessarily going to get the one-liners and all that from Saban, but he did have some moments that were funny where he's talking about 12 personnel, and, you know, it was a great question by Kentucky Sports Radio that I think Saban appreciated and was rewarded with a good and entertaining
For those of you that didn't hear it, Saban said, "What's 12 personnel?" I'm confused.
Oh, God.
And it was like, well, but he'll do that with anybody that tries to get too coachy with him, if they want to be like, show off their big brain and start using the football terms or whatever, he'll. And the funny thing is, a lot of coaches have different terminology for different things. Having worked with different staffs, you find that out that what one guy calls a 3 technique or a 9 technique, somebody else calls something else, and so they that's that little subtle dig. I don't think there was any coincidence in the fact that it was yesterday in Texas at an event that Nick Saban mentioned that his quarterback, who hadn't started a game yet, was approaching 7 figures in NIL stuff in recruit-rich Texas, for him to kind of drop that comment there. I don't think he does anything by happenstance, and I think that was extremely calculated.
I just spent the last 2 hours writing about that exact subject. And about doing that, especially on the day that Kirby Smart makes some national headlines, and everybody's talking about, wow, Kirby, that was really impressive, and you handled yourself well at SEC Media Days. There is no doubt in my mind that Nick Saban knows exactly what he's doing when he makes a comment like that. And he doesn't have to come out and admit it, but it's a flex that you can't respond to. Lane Kiffin was blown away by it yesterday.
Yeah.
He was asked about that, and then he just had a moment where you saw the look on his face.
Stunned.
It was genuine surprise and just totally baffled by it. And then later he comes back to it. Somebody asked him a question about Jerry and Ely's shoulder surgery, and he's like, sorry, I just can't stop thinking about Bryce Young. That's the kind of impact that a statement like that has. And when you can say, look, my quarterback who hasn't started a game yet is already approaching 7 figures, that's about the Alabama brand.
Yeah.
That's not just, hey, this kid is off to a great start and he's in the Heisman Trophy race and people are recognizing his success. It's, look at the position he is in as an Alabama quarterback, and this is the type of opportunity that's available if you want to come to a place like Alabama.
And it leads to a story and another story. It gets picked up nationally, and then you've got people saying
he owns the week.
Well, there was one guy that was quoted as saying that Tua Tagovailoa would have been worth $4 to $5 million.
I believe it.
If he were, in NIL money, if that had happened. And so what's happening is that that's that drip, 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 and this is the gray area of this whole NIL as it relates to recruiting. You're not supposed to use NIL opportunities as a recruiting tool. But he just was a matter-of-factly stating that my quarterback's already got almost $1 million worth of endorsements, and bingo, that was a tantamount to a recruiting comment, and without it being a recruiting comment.
It's very impressive. And you're not going to hear a whole lot of coaches talk about individual earnings, but to use it in that sense, I thought was very clear, in my opinion. I had conversation with Jeff Duncan, who wrote what I thought was kind of the definitive Arch Manning recruiting story for The Athletic, and he said it wasn't a coincidence, from what he had heard, it wasn't a coincidence that Nick Saban got his extension through the year 2028 when he did, a few weeks before Arch Manning is going to come to Alabama and visit. So I look at things like that, and Ty Simpson, who's the 5-star quarterback who's committed for next year's class, and I always think that Saban just knows. And the guy has had number 1 recruiting classes in 9 of the last 11 years.
Right.
The guy knows what he's doing.
And we got a bunch of first-timers here this week. We got guys that, with Kiffin, what was significant was that there's never in a history of SEC Media Days had been a gap as big as that between his first and the next time that he was at SEC Media Days. You got guys like Mike Leach this afternoon that have gone through Media Days out at the Pac-12 and at the Big 12, but never certainly here. So you've got all of those things that are in play. But when we sit there and you're with Saban, I didn't realize this 6, 8, 9 years ago as much, but really today it kind of hit me. Bear Bryant didn't go through this. Bud Wilkinson, we weren't around when those guys knew Rockney. We're sitting in front of the greatest college football coach ever. Quite possibly. I mean, greatest college football, and you see it, and you just know that it's different. You look at the other coaches, you see how they. I was very, very impressed by Shane Beamer. The energy that he brought. But when Saban is speaking, you look at it, the polish, the things that he says, and you realize that this is an opportunity that we'll never have again in our lifetime, and that this group of people have that we haven't had ever before.
It's not supposed to be like this.
No.
It's just not. There are coaches who have ridden off into the sunset. You bring up Bear Bryant, and unfortunately the way that his career came to an end. And I look back at someone like Joe Paterno, and Joe Paterno was always my basis for why Saban wouldn't coach that long.
Right.
Because Joe Paterno became a shell of himself from an on-field perspective in what he was bringing to the table, and I always thought Saban didn't want to do that. Man, if you're asking me today, is Saban going to coach 2 or 3 more years, or is he going to be coaching until he's 80?
Yeah.
I'd probably bet on the latter. And he
I
shows
still don't
no
think
sign.
so.
He shows no signs of slowing down, though, and the ability to do that. And maybe even last year, with going through, this is a small thing, but it was pretty well documented, of not being able to coach that game in the Iron Bowl and being away from it. Because how many times when you're a coach do you have that perspective, that 1 week perspective, unless you're suspended like Urban Meyer was at the start of the 2018 season? You don't really get to take a step back and really look at that and value that in season. I mean, that's the incredible thing with Saban, is that he has always had that perspective, and guy just continues to do it at a level nobody has ever done it at.
I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to come and hang with us. I know you're very busy here, and I'll look forward to getting with you again during the season.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
That's Connor O'Gara. He does a tremendous job again. Saturday Down South. Check that out. Saturday Tradition as well. All right, let's go upstairs and see what we can hear from the electronic media room, which we should have here at some particular point in time very, very shortly. And we'll see what's going on with that as well and catch some of that. Connor, of course, you hear him on the Feinbaum Show as well. I mean, he's making the rounds. I think he's a rising star in this business. I really do. I think we're going to hear from him quite a bit over the years for sure. Scott, are they up there now in the electronic media room? They should be, right? All right. I don't know if I've got the right one going or not, but I'm not hearing
perfect
anything.
Our mindset
there it is.
And perfect our everything that we're doing to the goal of winning every time we step on the field.
All right, we'll go straight in front of us again, right down the middle. Go ahead.
Bradley, I don't know if we talked to you during last season. I mean, starting at right tackle as a true freshman, what was that experience like? What was the learning curve like, and how is that going to help you for this season?
Yeah, it was surreal. Obviously most college O-linemen, you don't come in expecting to play your freshman year, and I was not an exception. But
no, that's Bradley Ashmore from the main media room, so we're not having any luck picking up Davian Davis. Hey, Steve, come on over here for a second. Steve is over here, and let's see if we can get him to help us out with that and see if we can get Davian Davis from the from the electronic media room and see if we can hear what is going on up there. I'm not catching it right now. I do know this. Oh, there we go. We heard something drop. Maybe he hasn't started yet. Maybe Grizz? Could it be that? Did you hear that? It sounded like something dropped. So I think we're connected to the electronic media room.
Yeah.
We're just not hearing anything yet there. That's what I believe is going on. I'm not sure. That's Steve running over here. He's checking it out. I'm on the right one, right, Steve? Am I on the right one? Yeah. Okay, so maybe he just hasn't started yet, Davion Davis. It was scheduled to start at 11:10 up there, and we just haven't heard anything yet from him. So I wasn't sure we were even in the right room yet, but apparently we are. So hopefully we'll hear
him as our leader and as our head
That's
coach.
Bradley. He's in the main. Bradley Ashmore, the offensive lineman for Vanderbilt. And I did not catch any of Clark Lee. Clark's a pretty impressive young man. They've got it. They're up against it. I mean, we know that. It's going to be very, very difficult for Vandy. We know that they're up against it for what, they have this year. I think I went with, and going back to Unleashed, I've got Vandy. I got to be honest with you. I think their only wins come against ETSU and against UConn. I don't see how they win an SEC game this year. I think they're 0 for 2 years in the SEC. We've seen this before. We saw it with Arkansas. But I've got Vandy at 2-10 this year. This is where I'm show them landing. Mississippi State, bit of a mystery. Started out great last year.
A big defensive lineman from Vanderbilt, Davian.
Let's go to Davian
Davis. We'll go straight to questions. We'll go first here on your right, front row.
Davian, just curious your impressions. I know it's been a few months now, but of Clark Lee and just kind of your expectations with him moving forward.
Right. As far as expectations, from what I know now, Coach Lee is one of the most fair men that I've ever met. He doesn't tolerate anything, no matter who it is, and he has a very strong will, very strong-minded when it comes to our team and our abilities and what Vanderbilt represents. So I love the guy, and I love the progression that we've made and the way that we're going. So as far as expectations, I think the sky's the limit.
David, we'll go to your left here on the front row.
Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. Of course, you're from my backyard, and I had a very, very fortunate to be able to follow your career for Wade Waldrop at James Clemens High School. Talk about that experience, and I know you played for one of the best high school defenses I've ever seen on all three levels. How did that help mold you as a player, and what kind of relationship do you still have with Coach Waldrop?
I actually just texted Coach Waldrop this morning. He sent me a picture, and we were at workouts or whatever, and somebody got a snapshot of me. And I was sweating, and he said, "You still look the same." And I was like, "I know." So, but as far as that defense and that team, just like you, is one of the best that I've ever been on defensively. And I think that prepared me. And, I mean, we worked our tails off, and we went through a lot of adversity through off seasons and workouts, and that just kind of put us right in the moment to be right where we needed to be, facing teams like Hoover and Hewitt-Trussville or whatever. And I just think it went well. I love the relationships I built there, and it's prepared me now more than I could have ever imagined, just being in those situations with great teammates and eventually having to come into a leadership role where, it allowed me to just sprout and be who I am right now.
We'll stay here on the front row to your right.
When you look at the defense this year, what are kind of your units and, just as a whole defense, your goals and what your expectations are? Right.
So our definite goal is to definitely just be the defense that nobody wants to play against. And you get that kind of defense around any team in the SEC, and it becomes really hard to beat us. And we want to be the ones to take the air out of the ball. The ball is ours when it's in the air, and we're just going to get after you. So as far as that, our units are working hard. We're scrappy. We're very hungry players, being as, we're looked down upon, and we know that. But that doesn't matter to us because we have each other. So we're just going to get after it.
Stay here on the front row.
I wanted to ask you about two more of your defensive teammates from my area. Malik Langham from Lee High School, who I got to know a little bit too. I know he's in your D-line room. Right. And also a young man from Gadsden who may be able to kind of break out this year, DeRicky Wright. Talk about both of those young guys. Yeah, Malik Langham is a stud, big guy, moves well, very strong and explosive. And I know him from my area as well, and he's always been that kind of dude. So I think he has a big year ahead of him, and he just has to go get it. So we're excited for him. And as far as DeRicky Wright, the sky's the limit for that kid because he's got potential out of this world, and he's a lengthy, fast guy. He can cover a lot of ground. So we'll see what he's able to do when he breaks the lineup, and I think he has a lot of potential to do great things in this conference.
On the front row still.
After kind of the rough season that you guys went through last year, what are some signs that you've seen already that or that are encouraging that you guys are going to take a step forward this year? Absolutely. I think the first one is just our respect and appreciation for where we're at. Coming into this off season, we've been grinding, and we've been definitely learning to respect and appreciate everything that we have. As far as, whether it's saying hello to the cafeteria lady to making sure the weights are put up right in the weight room, everything is a detail, and we're taking a lot of responsibility for what we can do and how we can move this program. So as far as that, I think becoming humble workers is our biggest thing, and we've been working hard, and I know that good things are in store. And, playing in the SEC, obviously every single week the competition is extremely high. From your perspective, what's been the toughest offensive line that you've had to go up against in your career? I would definitely say Kentucky's offensive line is a creature. I don't know. And for the sad loss of their position coach of last year, but he turned those kids into creatures because a guy from my area as well, Logan Stenberg, who now is on the Detroit Lions, he came from James Clemens, and he was a stud, and I played against him as a freshman, and he probably had his way with me. But he's a stud, and I think they definitely are very aggressive.
We'll stay on the front row here.
I also wanted to ask you about the connection you have. You talked about Clark Lee a little bit, but of course you chose Vanderbilt due to Derek Mason. He was a defensive guy. Clark Lee is as well. But talk about also how you've connected with Jesse Minter, and talk about schematically what some of the things, you're not going to give it away a lot, but how are you fitting into the defense?
I love Coach Minter, and he's a great dude. Knows a lot about ball. He's a league guy, so he's been around a lot of good winning teams and just a lot of studs. And I think he entrusts me as one of those guys that he sees to just make plays. So whenever it's available or whenever he thinks, I'm in a good position to make a play, he really puts me in it. And I love the trust that he's building within me. So that's awesome.
How excited are you for this year to hopefully be more of a normal football season, playing in front of full stadiums again across the league, as opposed to last year you guys didn't have that?
Right. I'm super excited to have that atmosphere back. As I'm saying that, we've been shaped this season to be like, we could play in the parking lot. It doesn't matter. The pigskin's still there, so we'll play. But I think it's super awesome. Excited for fans and Vanderbilt community to get back out there too. So I know they're ready for that, and we're ready to see them.
You're an Alabama native. What were the selling points to get you to Vanderbilt, and what do you sell to other recruits coming in?
The selling point for me was probably that, I was making a 40-year decision and not a 4-year decision. This university prepares you for adversity outside of the field way more than I've ever could have imagined. Like, you're going to be ready to take on life as well as a football career if that's what you want. And you can definitely get that here. You see the logo behind me is in the SEC. I mean, this is like the most draft picks every year. So, if you bust your tail on and off the field, you're set up for the rest of your life, and you'll make connections that you never thought you could have made. So that's what sold me, and that's exactly what I would try to sell to somebody else, as well as having a new feel, a new standard here, a new atmosphere with Coach Lee coming in. And I've been taught more by him than I have by anybody in the last 7 months that he's been here, just as far as becoming a humble worker and becoming somebody who puts team in front of self, and being that selfless person can take you a long way.
Stay on the front row, please.
David, I wanted to ask you, how as a squad have you guys embraced or approached name, image, and likeness?
I think a lot of guys are going to take that opportunity, and our program has made it readily available, and they're giving us great resources to get out there. So they're supporting us a lot in that aspect. To, if somebody wants to help you out, or you want to be an ambassador or do something with a brand or partner with a company, to go for it. And as long as everything's all right, then they're letting us shoot for it, so guys can put a little extra money in the back pocket or send something home. So I definitely think our team's going to take advantage of it, and I think it's a great opportunity.
Any final questions? Okay.
I did want to ask about another one of your former teammates. He's going to be finally healthy, we hope, this year at Alabama, but how much do you communicate with LeBron Ray and talk? I know he was a stud. You guys were together on the D-line, one of the best high school D-lines, as I've said, I've ever seen. But talk about him a little bit, and do you still talk with him?
Yeah, we still communicate here and there, just checking up. I know that when he's healthy, the kid's a wrecking ball, and he can do a lot of damage as he did in high school. He's a real stud, so hopefully, I'm just praying for his success and his health, and he can get out there and play the game that he loves, because I know that's what he really invests in. So we keep in touch, and we definitely communicate about old times. So it's pretty fun.
David, thank you very much. Nice job.
Thank you.
Yeah, a very nice job, and a nice job by Drew DeArmond as well. Why didn't Drew just bring him down here? We could have had Drew just bring him down. It was pretty much Drew and Davian Davis alone. But, man, does that kid sound impressive. And check this out. He's majoring in medicine, health, and society. I would have had if we had a chance to talk to him before, down here, I got to ask him about that. Majoring in medicine, I understand. Majoring in health, I understand. I don't understand majoring in society. It's something that I don't think I've heard that one before. But this is a really, really bright kid out of James Clemens. And Drew is right. LeBron Ray and Davian Davis on the same defensive line. I don't know how anybody ever scored anything on them. You would think just those two guys would have been able to carry today. They would have been that good. All right, we're going to get a break in here. When we come back, we'll have more from SEC Media Days. How many of you are listening at work or checking sports from work. I got some interesting detail about that a little bit later on as well. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brett Musburger's Action Update. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
The Milwaukee Bucks have won the NBA championship, defeating the Suns in 6 games. Looking ahead to next season, the Brooklyn Nets, the early favorite to win it all at plus 210. The Lakers behind them at plus 450. Assuming the Olympics are still on, starting with the opening ceremonies on Friday, a look at the gymnastics competition. The U.S. women heavy favorites to win gold at minus 650, Russia plus 500, and China plus 600. On the men's side, Russia plus 100, China plus 175, Japan plus 400. Baseball, Braves plus 135 on the money line against the Padres. San Diego minus 172. Over under 7.5 in Game 1. In Game 2, Atlanta minus 105. Padres minus 116. Over under 7.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
It's kicked. Waddle from the 1 to the 5. Cuts left of the 10. Stays left of the 15. Up the middle 20.
It's hard! Hard! Bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
Switching season is back at WOW. Get super fast, extra reliable Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at Wowie.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Problem. You want to get in shape, but packing a bag, getting gas, and driving to a gym is an expensive hassle. Solution? See Huntsville Fitness Equipment and build your own gym. That's right. Huntsville Fitness Equipment has commercial-grade equipment at home-grade prices. They'll deliver and set it up and save you up to $500 over the competition. And with brand names like Power Plate, Life Fitness, Hoist, and Bodycraft, you'll have quality equipment that lasts. Financing is available. Quality's guaranteed. Huntsville Fitness Equipment, 7540 South Memorial Parkway or fitnesszone.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Having your own home is awesome, but it's also a lot of work. The good news? Finding help for your projects is easier than ever. Introducing Angie, the app that puts all your home care needs at your fingertips. Need a pro to fix that emergency leak? Maybe find someone to build a deck, or even set your seasonal tasks on autopilot. Angie can handle all that and more. Expert pros, hundreds of home projects, clear pricing, and the easiest way to book and pay in seconds. This is Angie, your home for everything home. Download the app today.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Contractors and homeowners throughout the Tennessee Valley agree. Valley Equipment Rental is the place to go when you need to get the job done like a pro. Rhyming aside, Valley Equipment has everything you need for your project, from tillers for the garden to aerators for the lawn to stump grinders, augers, and mowers, plus skid steer and mini excavators. Oh, the skid steer and excavators. Valley Equipment is North Alabama's leader in skids and excavators with 25 of each, and they have them in all different sizes. Check them out today on the South Parkway or at ValleyEquipmentRents.com.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hit the hard! Hard! Bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And you'll also be able to listen to Paul Feinbaum tomorrow here with me. Coming up at 11. Paul Feinbaum will sit down with us. We'll have a nice little chat. The commissioner, Greg Sankey, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, or right at the top of the 10 o'clock hour, and then Paul Feinbaum at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, and whatever else will fall out. We actually have a moment now to get the phones open between now and the end of the show, depending on what's going on, and depending on if something just kind of falls into our lap here. We do have an opportunity to open up the lines. 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977. Now, Nick Saban talked earlier and gave his thoughts about the expansion of the college football playoff, reacting to some of the comments that Dabo Swinney had made. But take a listen to this. This is Saban's take on expanding the college football playoff.
I just think there's a lot of questions about it.
Yeah.
Like how many games are players going to have to play? If you're going to play 16 or 17 games, our teams have played 15 games on several occasions, and that's a lot. Then how does it impact the SEC championship game? Where do you play the games? If you have all these extra games, are we going to go play in Wisconsin in December? When I was in Houston and we played in Buffalo in December and January, it wasn't good. I mean, we had a hard time getting our players to go out and warm up. So I think there's a lot of questions about it. The question about is it conference champions or the best teams? All these things, and I think the unintended consequence, which I predicted when we had a 2-team playoff and went to 4-team playoff, is you minimize the importance of bowl games, which has always been something that reinforced every college football player and every college football team and their fans. When they had a decent season, they could go to a bowl game. Now we've kind of discounted the importance of bowl games to a large degree, where some players don't even want to play in them. So we keep expanding the playoffs. I don't think those two things can coexist. So probably need to pick a lane, but I just don't want the players to have to play too many games. I think that's my biggest concern. I haven't asked our team what their opinion about it would be, so I wouldn't speculate on what they would think.
Well, really, it's only one more game. Okay, I guess at the end of the day, it's going to be one more game, and it's only going to be for a couple of teams. I guess possibly you could have a team that was in the first round that could end up playing maybe a 17th game. It could happen to where you get something like that. But look, this, like NIL, this paste is out of the tube. All right, you all due respect, Coach. I don't even know if they did the right thing. I'm going to talk about this with Greg Sankey tomorrow. I don't even know if they did the right thing stopping at 12. I mean, it seems like we're on our way to 16. And it takes 10 or 12 years to make these, changes, and they stick with something for some long period of time before they make the next change. I don't know what the point is now at 12. I don't understand why we just don't go to 16 and have all 8 teams host on campus the first round. Okay, I think that could happen. And, yes, you might be playing a game in Wisconsin in December. It may come to that. And it doesn't mean that there would be no bowl games. It might mean that there would be reduced bowl games. After the first week, where you get from 16 to 8, and now you have 8 teams, that's 4 games. Those are in bowl games. And then the next 2 are in bowl games. All right, so there's 6 bowl games involved every year in that deal. Now you say, well, yeah, but there's 40 bowl games. What about all the rest of the bowl games? Well, what about all the rest of the bowl games? So play as many bowl games as you want. If there's 6 bowl games that are used for the playoff, and that leaves another 30 bowl games for another 60 teams that aren't in the 12 or 16 that make the playoff, so be it. I mean, look, it's been this way since they started expanding the bowls. We watched all of those other bowls, the most wonderful week of the year during the holiday weeks, and we watched all of those bowls. Had nothing to do with determining a national championship. Going all the way back to before there were 2 teams that we tried to put together for a national championship game. We watched the Music City Bowl then. We watched the Gator Bowl. We watched the Blue Bonnet Bowl. We watched the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl, which I think was the Blue Bonnet Bowl before it became the Poulan Weed Eater Bowl. The Sun Bowl has never meant anything. We watch it. And when they invented the Boca Raton Bowl, and when they invented the second bowl game in Miami at what is now the Orange Bowl Stadium, where they play the Orange Bowl, and they have a game earlier in the bowl season, that's okay. And when they put a second game in Orlando, did we ever think that those games were going to be involved in any way, shape, or form in a national playoff? No. It's just a celebration of football. When the Conference USA champion plays the Sun Belt champion in New Orleans, who cares whether it's a playoff game or not? It's just more football. It's a celebration of football. It's a bowl game. It's a bowl trip. It's a 12th or 13th or 14th. It's a 13th game for those teams. So I don't understand the gnashing of teeth over what using 6 bowl games in the playoff has to do with the other bowl games. Well, now you've neutered the bowl games. What are you talking about? When was the last time the Music City Bowl had anything to do with the national championship? You're pitting the 4th place team in the SEC against the 5th place team in the ACC or the Big Ten, whatever it is. It's a great game. Go watch a football game. It's just a bowl game. It's a trip. Yes, kids are bailing out of those games. But I don't understand this correlation that we try to draw between adding to the playoff. And to me, it should be 16. To me, we're playing around. I don't know what the hell we're doing with 12. 4 byes, and those 4 teams don't get a home game, and the other, if your team 5 through 12 or 5 through 8, you get a home game, and I don't know where all of that is. It doesn't make none of that makes any sense to me. At this point in time, if you're going to go to 12, go to 16. Just go to 16. And yeah, there's conference champions, the top 6 ranked conference champions. That's been determined, and then the rest is decided by a committee. But just because, you have a Houston Bowl or whatever, there's 40 bowl games right now. So what if there's 30 bowl games or 35 bowl games? I don't care if everybody plays in a bowl game. I don't even buy the whole 6-6 thing. Look, I coached at a small Division III school, and we had a bowl game. If you didn't make the playoffs, if you didn't make the Division III playoffs, 24 teams go to the Division III playoffs. At that time, 16 went to the Division III playoffs. If you didn't make the Division III playoffs, you got potentially invited to a bowl game. We were in the Empire 8 conference. It was an ECAC bowl game, Eastern College Athletic Conference. And there was the Empire 8, which we played in, and there was some conference, I forget, the New England something conference, that had schools, Harvard of Grace, and not Harvard of Grace. What was it called? I don't know, whatever these schools were that were in, over in New England. Salve Regina, not Harvard of Grace. Salve Regina was over there. It was a number of schools that were over there. And a team from the Empire 8 that didn't make the playoffs and a team from that conference that didn't make the playoffs met in a bowl game. And we tried like hell to get into that game. And our kids wanted to play in that game. It's just a football game. And people came to the game because people love football. It's just another way to celebrate football. So I don't get that part of it. Now, he did make mention of the fact that, adding a game and how many games are we going to ask these kids to play? And Alabama's played 15. You're talking about 16, on an off chance possibly 17 for 2 teams to get a national championship. Well, that's only partially true in terms of the games that the quote-unquote kids will play. There is no JV anymore, right? There's no JV schedule anymore. So when you have Mercer on your schedule week 2, I'm sorry. There's not a heck of a lot of teams that are players that are necessarily going to play in the Mercer game. All right? When you have Southern Miss on the schedule, you maybe a half. When you have New Mexico State on the schedule, come on. Yeah, it's a 12-game regular season, but let's be honest. You're playing 9 games and the equivalent of 3 JV games. I know he hates to hear that, but you're playing the equivalent of 3 JV games. How long are your starters going to play against Mercer? Florida plays Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Samford. Look, Florida playing Samford, that's a JV game. So let's not talk about, this is not like 16 games in the NFL when everybody can beat everybody. This isn't any given Saturday like it's any given Sunday. It's not. McNeese State is not beating LSU, nor is Central Michigan, nor is Louisiana Monroe, which beat Alabama in 2007. But by and large, for the most part, these are the equivalent of JV games. Your starters will play limited amount of time in those games and can play even less. If you're really that concerned about it, all right, when you're Texas A&M and you're playing Kent State week 1, you can greatly limit the amount of time that your starters play. You have the ability to do that. So Not buying that argument. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, final segment. So how many of you are listening at work? How often do you, check scores and things like that? And how many of you consume something or some sort of sports from work? This is a very interesting deal, and I'm going to share it with you next. There was a survey about this, and I'm going to share it with you next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show from SEC Media Days, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This is Wes Neighbors with Philip with Eagle Insulation, and we have an announcement to make.
Yes, Wes, we are now Eagle Masonry and Insulation. We're still a place to call for your insulation needs, but now we offer masonry services.
What kind of masonry projects can you handle?
Wes, no job is too big, no job is too small. We can do renovations, new construction, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, brick landscape borders.
Well, when you came out to my house, you did both the insulation and masonry at the same time. You guys did rock for me, you did brick for me, and you insulated my house. That's usually done at the same time that you're building a house.
Absolutely. It really capitalizes on two services you need at the same time, and you can get one company to handle both of those.
Philip with Eagle Insulation will come out, do your installation. He'll do your masonry. They do a great job. They guarantee your work. Check out more online at insulatewitheagle.com and schedule your free examination today. 256-755-1556.
Thanks, Wes.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then, pow! The power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
Drinking coffee straight from the pot. Power move. Wearing a bathrobe to work. Power move. Switching to super fast, extra reliable internet from WOW. Power move. Switch and save with WOW Internet for just $19.99 a month. It's switching season, so make a move with our best deal of the year. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, ask how to get $200 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today.
Wow.
Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Contractors and homeowners throughout the Tennessee Valley agree. Valley Equipment Rental is the place to go when you need to get the job done like a pro. Rhyming aside, Valley Equipment has everything you need for your project, from tillers for the garden to aerators for the lawn to stump grinders, augers, and mowers, plus skid steer and mini excavators. Oh, the skid steer and excavators. Valley Equipment is North Alabama's leader in skids and excavators with 25 of each, and they have them in all different sizes. Check them out today on the South Parkway or at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Football season is here.
It is in the air. It has missed it. It's good.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hit the hard. Bring it up, grab a knee. Let's go.
College football lives here. Today's coverage of the 2021 SEC Media Days is brought to you by TOC.
Welcome back to Thom Abraham Show. In case you missed it, asked and answered. Nick Saban was asked about being called coach or Nick. He said, you don't care. So Deion is wrong. He is wrong. And I counted them. 3 Nicks and 3 coaches when he was in the main media room. Okay? And it ran about 50-50 throughout. There is a flotilla of... I got to take a picture of that. This is fantastic. This is the first time I've seen this week here, okay? There is half the police department is out there in front of, there we go. Let me get that in there. Boom. I'm going to post this picture. Half the police department is in front of the door where Marty and McGee is on air live now, Grizz. Nick Saban is on. Marty and McGee.
Got to keep them safe.
And there's this army of people out at the door, watching his back. I mean, it's just crazy. It really is.
He's special cargo, man. You got to keep him safe.
Yeah. No, and you would think that Phil Mathis, would be able to keep him safe. All he has to do is walk around with Phil Mathis, and he would be fine.
He's got, like, bodyguards that we don't know about. He's got guys in suits all the time at the games. Those aren't coaches.
Right. No, yeah, but he also has cops, you know what I mean, that walk him off the field. But they do that. But all of the SEC does that. He's the only one that's got cops here with him, okay?
He's got Kevin Durant bodyguards.
And McGee. See, I can't do this like other guys because it's just me. It's the Thom Abraham Show. So I can't. I'm trying to text while you talk. You need to talk for an extra 10 seconds here.
Well, no, it was really cool that they got to talk to Ryan McGee and Marty Smith, and I actually got to meet Marty Smith at the LSU Alabama game a couple years ago. So it's a real nice guy.
No, they're both great. I mean, they both have been on the show several times. McGee even more than Marty, but Marty's been. He's been a guy that has come on with us before, and I think he's a big-time rising star, with ESPN. I really do believe that. Security.
Well, I always liked Marty because he was a part of the NASCAR broadcast.
Yeah, but see, Saban isn't the only one with a security detail. I have Wes Neighbors looking over my shoulder. See, so I've got my own security detail here. All right.
You would not want to move that man,
right, Wes? See down there? See all the cops down there? They're watching Saban's back, but I got you watching my back. So I got my own security detail. Wes Neighbors' SEC media badge. It looks like a stamp on his check. It looks like a postage stamp on that guy. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, so Grizz, this doesn't really apply to you because your job is to do this, right? To be to be doing this. But this is fascinating. They did a poll. 1,500 people. Okay, this is really interesting. They did a poll, and they asked questions and regarding sports. 71% of people admit to checking sports scores or reading about sports while they're working. And a quarter of those, listen to this, 25% of those people say they do it every day. Every day. 73% admit to watching sports at work. And that number is even higher among remote or hybrid workers at 86%.
Wow.
Of people who are working remotely. Now, I'm a guy that's been working remotely since 2013. So it's not like I shouldn't be talking about this.
That hasn't changed.
No, but I'm in the sports business. So I have sports on in my studio and in my office every single day, all the time. So I don't count. I'm 100% of the time, okay? But I've said this all along. These people that are working from home, if you think they're just working, I mean, I'm telling you right now, you got 86% of them are watching sports while they're supposed to be working. 52% say that they've checked the score during a work meeting, and 53% say that they've checked the score during a Zoom or Skype call.
No comment, but yes.
Now, get this one. Are you ready for this? 48% of respondents have said they called in sick to attend a sporting event or a game. Half the people.
No, I've never done that, and I wish I had. That is the Braves. Sorry, we have Braves. There's a doubleheader. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is. You can pot it down.
Just a little bit, but you can still hear it.
You could. Well, no, I'm not hearing it. If you pot it down, I don't have
Your ears
to.
don't look. You don't listen to me.
Let's just say we're not carrying the Braves game this afternoon, right? I'm gonna
the first part, and probably not the second part either.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're carrying any Braves. Well,
no,
maybe,
I don't think we're. Well,
maybe late tonight, right?
Yeah,
we
maybe
might
if
have
we get past it, I don't know.
Yeah, after we're having a little team dinner tonight at the Bonefish Grill.
Ooh.
So yeah,
I guess I'll have a team dinner at the local McDonald's.
Go get a fish stick sandwich.
Hey, did y'all use my Dave & Buster's card? Because I think I have one.
No, we got rid of your credential. We didn't even.
You should have got the Dave & Buster's card.
We can't. No, you can't do that. You actually have to get your own
ID.
credential. Yeah, you have to.
That stinks.
So you're not.
That
So
stinks.
tonight, I want you to go to McDonald's and get a fish sandwich so that you can feel like you're at the Bonefish Grill with us.
A couple of McChickens.
where we'll be having our meal. All right, and check this out. 57% of the respondents said that if season tickets were offered by their employer, they would take a pay cut. And 61% of sports fans say that they have hidden in a restroom at work to watch a game or check a score. 61% of you people that are out there have gone and hidden in the bathroom so that you could watch.
Not to watch a game, but definitely check a score.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. I heard music playing at some point in time. I don't know what you're doing over there, but yeah, I think we got that. They got music. No, I told you to turn the Braves down. We don't need to hear Braves pregame. You got to play the music. All right, that's going to do it for us. Coming up, Chuck Oliver. There's a rumor that Nick Saban may be going on with Chuck, so you might want to listen to that. I'm Thom Abraham. This is SEC Media Days coverage on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sitting here with Ann Adams,